The Iowa Music Archive is honored to present an interview with Sherm McNeal and Dave Meyer as we learn this afternoon about the legendary STEBS Amusement that existed in Cedar Falls. This episode is made possible with the help of many individuals. I'd like to thank Jon Chamberlain, who's been a great engineer and friend to this project. Huge thanks to the Cedar Falls Historical Society for allowing us to use this space and bringing out the archives for us to enjoy while we talk. I'd also like to thank Darin and Amy Jass for the tapestry that's behind both Sherm and Dave that existed behind many amazing bands when STEBS was open. Thank you both for being here. I'm honored that you've taken the time to be here to talk about STEBS Amusement. And I'm going to start with, how did the two of you meet?
Well, thank you.
Yeah. I suppose probably at the bar and mutual friends. Rick Pluhoff comes to mind mostly because it was in your department. And
I came here to go to school in January of '77, and I don't know how I happened to come in to STEBS the first time. Oh. I really don't.
When I graduated from high school, I spent 2 weeks with the males, and we went fishing, and then I left the town, Pomeroy. And then I started bartending. They had the bar open in '74, late '74, but the first full year was '75. And then part-time in it, and I had some other jobs at the time, so.
And we were friends prior to me getting into the bar because you were in my wedding.
Yeah.
And that was 1980, and I didn't start there at the club till 1983 when I bought out Dave's stepbrother. Half-brother, I'm sorry. And we were
ripping and raring to go.
Ready to try something new.
So you started into the next question, but how did you both begin your association with STEBS? So Dave, you worked there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how did you change over to being an owner?
Buying other people out. There was like 4 original owners: Sales, Tufte, Evelyn, and Beekman. Beekman I don't know much about.
I thought it was Boozer.
No, well, I don't think it was Boozer. I think he was involved with my brother and some other projects.
Well, I beg to differ because I know Boozer's son.
Oh.
Yeah.
Could have.
Lauren Boozer.
The Sales is still alive and in Waterloo, and my half-brother Steve is in Pequot Lakes, Minnesota. He just turned 80. And
anyway.
Yeah.
How about you, Sherm?
I know we had mutual friends and we were hanging out there, and that was back when we played a lot of pinball.
Yeah.
You know, you'd have 4 people playing pinball in a game. Everybody puts in a quarter. We stand there and drink beer and played pinball.
Yeah.
And I was in the geography department. I don't know if some of those people led me down there. Maybe it was
Rick maybe, because foosball was big.
Yeah.
And Rick loved playing foosball.
Yeah, a lot of people played foosball, that old.
And Gemma, did you know
knew
Gemma? He was from that same department, wasn't he?
And then you had a real core group of people that were Cedar Falls people that hung in there and played foosball.
Yeah. Some friends that later kind of moved on, but.
That was right at the end of, the Vietnam War. We had quite a few veterans around way back then,
Beers were a quarter, pitches were $1.25, and everybody had $25
and the GI
in their
Bill
pocket.
was out there.
Yeah.
People were going to college. Still saw people wearing field jackets,
So you both start to buy into the club. You're working at the club. How did you start to change STEBS and create the environment? And so when I think of walking into STEBS many years later as a college student, like what impacted me was how it was designed, and that brings us to Steve Turner and the work that he did. But how did you go about creating not only the physical environment, but the environment that existed amongst people when you walked in the club?
Well, it was a cafe at first. Before my brother got a hold of it. And they just kind of stripped it out and basically opened the doors, and they had Budweiser on tap at the time, and that was a big new beer then, believe it or not. And basically there was 7 pinball machines, pool table, and some foosball, and that was the entertainment, the amusement. So
prior to that, the building had a history as the hub, which went all the way back to the 60s, probably.
I don't know much about that.
And that was before there was any alcohol on the hill. You had to go down to Main Street to get a beer. And so it was a place that was open late and served sandwiches and coffee and stuff. And that goes back to long before, but.
How did Steve start to do all of his painting in there? Do you remember how this happened?
Steve kind of came with the place.
Yeah. I don't remember exactly how all that started, but I suppose we bought the paint from Dutcher's downtown at the time.
And there was, if you looked back behind that drop back there that's behind us, there was some original painting that was pretty bizarre back there from the hub days. And it was already blue, I think, from the hub days.
Could have been.
So Steve just kind of,
I think
expanded and expanded on it.
I think he worked on the ceiling first, didn't he? With
I think
those
he
diamonds,
did.
The diamonds.
I think
and all
that was
stuff.
the start, and then he just kept going. He did the outside and everything. And
So in front of us, we actually have a couple of artifacts that we were looking at before we started. And so I'll ask one question first, and then we'll get into how you booked bands. But when did you start to have different types of entertainment?
I think we kind of started out one night a week, and some of it was free. And then things progressed second night, and so on and so forth. But
the Circle Lounge, which was on Second Street, did live music a lot. And the Circle Lounge, I think it kind of coincided when they closed. We kind of picked up the ball from then. But that changed really fast, I mean, I would say within about a year and a half, we were starting to do music pretty regularly. And so that started with our, a few local acts that were already playing there before I came along. You were doing stuff now and then.
the Blue Band, I think, but I don't know if they were called the
Ziploc.
Oh, Ziploc was in
Yeah.
there. Yeah. A bunch of local boys.
Yeah, but they were already playing original music. I mean, it was it kind of came, and Steve creating that environment was very conducive to people liking it.
Something different.
Yeah.
So we take for granted how clubs, promoters book music or talent these days. A lot of it done digitally. What did that look like before the internet? How did you book bands? How did you form relationships with bands over the time that brought them back over and over again?
Well, I first started taking calls on the payphone. I had to use a quarter if I wanted to call out. So it started with a lot of word of mouth, and then before too long, we put our name in a journal called Polestar, and there was another one I can't remember. But it would have a buyer's guide that came out, once or twice a year, and clubs would be in there, and the capacity, and who they had, and the address, and the phone numbers and stuff. So that took off pretty quick, and there was active booking agencies, like you talked to Tom Tapman. That was exactly what it was like, and Tom was really successful at a lot of those back, in the day when it was more important, like he said, to play a good cover of Hotel California than it was to have original music. And we definitely found that out too. It was nice to do original music, but you have to pay the bills, you have to try and appeal to
Yeah, Tom captured that really well
Yes,
in the
he
interview
did.
where he
Yes,
talked
he
about the
did.
switchover, which would have coincided with about the time you would have started
Right.
this journey. But you're right, cover bands hold a place and have a draw, typically.
And it went from almost overnight from people driving around in an old converted school buses carrying their own gear and their own PA and playing from Wednesday through Saturday nights and playing 3 sets a night to, I remember the first time we had somebody show up, you don't have a PA? We don't have a PA. So it was, and that converted to, people that only played 1 set or they played 2 sets. So we needed 3 sets or 2 90s, and
So in front of us, I'm going to ask you maybe to think about that. You have a very detailed organization system, and that is from 1992, 1993.
yeah, pretty detailed.
Yeah, pretty detailed, which is amazing. And so for those who are watching, that's a calendar with dates, obviously.
Dates.
Band names.
Phone
numbers.
Post-it notes.
Post-it notes, and a little detail about how the show went. And so
Yeah.
this was probably a way for you to look back and think about,
Yeah.
how did these bands do when they were here?
Yeah.
Have they done better over time?
Yeah.
Yeah, so a very, very different way. Did that contribute to those relationships? And I'll talk about that. I had the opportunity to interview Dave Zolo, and Dave Zolo has such amazing memories of playing at STEBS with High and Lonesome, or as a solo artist. And it's an example of someone, or Bo Ramsey, somebody who came back over and over again, an out-of-town artist. What hospitality makes that happen? That they just keep coming back?
I think it's a lot of it was that when they're playing on the stage, they're right there, and the crowd's right there. It's close, and it feeds back into them till they enjoy it.
Yeah.
I would agree.
You mentioned Bo. Bo was one of the few people that we called up after we closed about a month later. Said thank you, and we had a nice long conversation. It was great. But anyway, no, I mean, it was so many things. It was them putting all the heart in. We had great people who treated people great. We talked about John Waltz and Joel Berry, Jon Chamberlain, other people who did sound and just made things come together. People were, I think our staff bought into it. I think they felt.
We used to have the Monday meetings, and
Yeah.
we could tell the difference in our business when we started doing that. Everybody was there, and we talked about different things.
Yeah.
What was your Monday meeting agenda?
Go over last week, and then make plans for this week. So everybody knew what was going on.
Problems,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree that your staff did buy into it. They still buy into it.
Yeah, well, we're so fortunate to have so many people that just treated us right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put you both on the spots. Can you share some of your favorite memories about so many bands that came across the stage, knowing that we'll forget somebody? So hopefully no one would feel slighted if they were watching, but there's got to be some great stories that need to be shared.
Well, the Nationals played my wedding reception, so that was one of my highlights, and it was a big local crowd also. That they were one of the last bands that played, and they wouldn't stop.
It was the last night.
Last one, yeah.
And John had oxygen while he was playing on
I think
stage.
so.
the last night.
Probably.
I
yeah.
think so.
Yeah. It wasn't long
Yeah,
after that.
We met outside the door and said, "How are we going to shut this down?" And it finally did. But I noticed the cop came down the hill, and he was looking towards the opposite side of the street, and then drove off. And so it could have been ugly.
But I'm sure glad you said the Nationals, because, man, when they played, especially like on a Thanksgiving or something, there was a lot of love in that room, man.
People coming back for the
Oh,
holidays.
there was a lot of love in that room.
Yeah, that's probably the top one. I would think
For
for that kind of music.
in terms
Covers.
of and carrying us through. whole damn time. The whole damn
Oh, we got a bill
time.
coming up. Are they playing?
The whole damn time they were there for us.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Yep.
And I guess Bob was there quite a long time too.
Oh, yeah.
Dave Deibler.
Dave Deibler, the house. We were talking about Bob Washut and the whole jazz program. That just, man, what a root, what an asset to this community. He and so many other people in that department have been right up till now. You know, that's
Yeah, they're still playing at the Octopus.
yeah.
Different nights.
I mean, I remember one time he had a clinic with a sax player by the name of Donald Harrison. And Harrison came down and played with the jazz band that night. Well, Donald Harrison is what the whole series Treme is about. You know, his father was one of their Mardi Gras Indian chiefs. And his music is in it, and a lot of people appeared in that. We know, and you know that's just great, you know. And the other one for me would be Clarence Gatemouth Brown, because I followed Gate in high school on Don Kirshner's rock concert. He came out with his guitar and 2 6-guns going like this. Kind of inappropriate now. But when I paid Gate that night, he opened up his briefcase. There's the hog leg right on top, just in case there was any disagreement. Yep.
I was thankful to look in this book because this is about the time I started walking through STEBS, ironically, through the door of STEBS. And as I shared with you before we started, my first show was House of Large Sizes. And what an incredible, incredible thing to have as your first show. But gosh, I got a list. I got a list bands that come to mind, and I hope I don't leave anybody out, but bands that I loved, obviously House of Large Sizes. We were talking about Planet Melvin, a band I loved from Minneapolis called Dogshine, Push On Junior, Tripmaster Monkey, Fat Bertha and the Love Shakers, Steve Turner, Mojo's Blues Jam, The Nationals, Bo Ramsey. I mean, the list just goes on and on of bands that I
Remember
saw.
Billy Goat?
Billy Goat,
Yeah.
Vic Vacuum and the Attachments. And so, you know, you were talking about Clarence. I mean, where else are you going to see somebody destroy a vacuum on stage and feel like you saw a great show? Chris Duarte. I mean, the list just goes on and on of amazing acts that we got to see and witness. The Poster Children, like they just keep popping into my brain.
New
Local
Duncan
bands.
Imperials.
New Duncan Imperials, Solvent, so many amazing bands that you helped us find. And so, as a music fan, I'm still telling you thank you. STEBS was filled with regulars, and as we talked about a minute ago, with amazing staff. Who sticks out in your mind after all these years? And don't forget to mention certain people.
Well, I would have to say all of our staff, and you know, at risk of not mentioning any of them, I have to say all of them.
Yeah,
you know,
we're pretty lucky.
That stayed with us for so long, and
We had a good special for them too. We took care of them. And if they wanted to drink, they could do it pretty reasonable. But,
yeah,
Yeah, I think your staff bought into the mission of what was happening.
yeah.
Looking back
Some were
on it,
musicians also.
yeah.
they were. And looking back on it, I think that was a way that they connected to the vision of what was happening and the fun, the energy. But there were many in the time that I walked
I don't
through
think
those doors.
people thought it was no fun to work at. I'm sure there was some boring times. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
yeah.
Okay, so we talked a lot about events in the club. Did STEBS have events outside of the club? So I'm thinking about stuff like Cedar River Festival, Sturgis Falls, softball.
We always
We'll
had
share
the
some of those memories.
4th of July blowouts, although it was never in our name. It was just always somebody put their name on it instead of us for liability reasons. You know,
I think those were prior to me, but
Oh,
I do
oh.
remember going.
I bet you were.
Yeah.
They're a lot of fun. We had one just south of Hickory Hills. Somebody had some land there, and
Yeah,
it was,
that was a
remember the
long
lightning
time
show we had that night? And
I think
yeah.
yeah,
but
might be ahead of me there.
and then there was some out at Crazy Joe's place too.
Yeah, Crazy Joe's Farm.
Yeah. Which, if you saw it today, you would never believe
Yeah.
it.
Joe was squatting out there.
But
What was your association with the Cedar River Festival?
Well,
kind of volunteered at the beginning, and there was some, I don't know who exactly started it, but I just got involved with it, and then pretty soon it made sense to fundraise.
Yeah, it was Raldo and Rush, and especially Raldo, though, I would say.
I bet McSweeney was involved
Yeah,
too.
McSweeney, Shelley
Paint crew.
Sheehy.
Paint crew.
Yeah, I remember Shelley got him the 5013C.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. But then we did a fundraiser for them every year. And we did a fundraiser for the Catholic Worker House three times. Dave and Barb Deibler, you know, consistently did fun things inside, you know, with, well, I remember one night they did John Lennon tribute, and all the bands played John Lennon songs or Beatles songs. And
I remember a mohair fair fashion show.
the fashion
Fashion
show
show,
was
yeah.
great, you know, and I
Which
think
evolved
that
into Pear Fair, I think, didn't it? Or no,
yeah,
that's different though.
2 or 3 times we did it. It was really fun. And we had, you know, we'd have an Octoberfest, we'd have a Bachfest in the spring. Just
And miraculously had good weather most of the time for the
Yeah.
Bachfest.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We actually had a goat in there you could get a picture with. Once.
So when you mentioned Bachfest, I have a memory of, I don't know if it's Bachfest or Oktoberfest, flavoring our beers.
Oh, scalding.
Scalding the beers.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
The red hot poker.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 Basically, you just slushed out all your beer. There was a little sugar left, and you came back and bought another one.
Those guys in Cedar Rapids that had the little brewery down there, they fell in with that.
Oh, they did?
thought that was the coolest thing. Oh yeah, they all made their own probes, you know, with like crests on them. So they thought that was great. You know.
I also remember turkey bowling.
Yeah, or frozen chicken bowling.
Yeah,
Yes.
frozen chicken bowling. I remember a tradition that I remember inside the club was the big beer on Friday afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
During Wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Wings was a tradition.
Wings was kind of big back in those days. It just got started, and you know, back then the chicken wings were about that big, and you get a gob of them in a bag. But now it's a lot different. It's like $40-50, and they're oversized.
Yeah, food was never our strong suit.
No, no. We had the deli, but that was barely. Somebody had the munchies really bad.
How did Wings start? Like, was it just a way to get people to come in on Friday
Well, yeah,
afternoon? or-
Fridays were kind of not that great for us, and shoot, it turned into a bigger thing just in those few hours, and
Yeah.
it was.
We did some matinees on Friday. That was kind of a bust. But having some food there for free worked.
I mean, there's a line to get it, and that was back when chicken wings just started too. They weren't as
expensive
prevalent
now.
as they are now, and they're way more expensive.
Yeah. Same recipe still available at the Octopus?
I started them out, but they pretty much are on their own with that.
Okay.
Yeah. It was getting a little hot at the end, but everybody was used to it.
You had the chili cook-off.
Yeah, we had a chili cook-off, and that was always kind of fun too.
We had a homebrew
Oh,
competition.
you were at competition.
Yeah, we actually got judges for it and
Yeah.
had some entries. It was,
That was early.
by the end of the day, we were just opening them and going, nah.
So really what you've spoken about with events, like that was a way to connect people to what was happening in the club.
Well, yeah, it
And I'm
was,
guessing
it was
it was
like
a lot of the same
something
people.
extra. Just something extra to bring people in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and a lot of the same people probably attending a lot of events.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
for sure. So STEBS was part of a record label, a short for a very short time called North Cedar Records. And for those who don't know, there were releases by Steve Turner, Fat Bertha and the Love Shakers, Tiny Lights, I think from New Jersey, and a local band called Mugwump.
Yeah.
How did that start?
Well, again, that was Dave Deibler and his, it was kind of a vanity label. I don't think we sold anything, of any numbers, but he wanted to do 45s, and we did some singles,
Yeah, that Tiny Lights is of the four. The Tiny Lights is actually a live recording.
That's right.
Yeah, and done, I think, by Joel Berry, if I'm
Maybe
without looking.
Tom Berry.
Maybe Tom Berry. Okay, and it's actually available now on the Internet Archive. The entire show. Yes.
All right. Wow.
Yeah. Our friend Yvonne had a copy of that live recording that we've now digitized and made available to the world. So, and it's a great recording. So it's very good. My favorite of that has to be Mugwump with our friends Kevin and Amy. That is one of the best pieces of recorded music in the Cedar Valley, in my opinion. They were a great band. Okay, so this is a real oddball question that everyone needs to know. What really went on down in that basement?
Nothing. Turner painted it up pretty good, and I think we were chasing people out of there a lot. That was where the bands took their breaks.
Yeah.
And of course, some of the patrons would follow them down there and mingle a little.
Yeah.
So, but
anything that was there is benign in today's standards.
yeah.
So it served
No,
as your
I would
green
say
room.
the things that I didn't expect to see down there, and I did see more than once, would be a band joined in a circle, joining hands before their show. Heard a couple of prayers, time and then. Saw people throw up before their show, or had to have 3 Greyhounds, meaning vodka and orange or vodka and grapefruit juice.
Place for them to relax a little bit before the show too.
Yeah.
Yeah, your green room.
Yep.
And we had an office down there, but we didn't really use it much. I think Yvonne used it more than we did.
Yeah. We finally got a computer.
Yeah, and this might be worth mentioning at this time. STEBS very early on had a website. Very early on.
That was Yvonne.
And that was Yvonne, yeah. And way ahead of its time to have a website where shows were listed.
And a mailing list.
And a
We
mailing
actually
list.
sent out cards.
Yeah,
Monthly.
that was probably about that thick or more.
The cards?
Oh yeah, that
Or your
many.
mailing list?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the list.
and-
Well, maybe 300 or 400. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that many or not?
Can't remember.
Yeah.
Well, funny story. I ironically don't have those anymore. I know they exist, but I lived in Bartlett Hall, and I would get one in the mail, 2 blocks from STEBS. Sorry, you wasted a stamp on me.
No.
I would post it up and make my plans for the month. So it worked even for somebody who was local.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it did exactly what it was
Just to
intended
get the
do.
word out
We
more.
had to do something.
Yeah, yeah. So we've talked about a lot of amazing times. What led to your decision to sell the club and move on?
We're both past 40,
Yeah. And my daughter was 3 years old, and she was well liked in the club, and that was going to go bad. We were going to have to reinvent the wheel too. We felt, and that was going to be a big chore, and we didn't. We were probably going to. You can't make money from 10 o'clock till 1 o'clock. I mean,
Yeah. It was a meager living, for 2 people.
it was all fun, and
Yeah.
I won't complain a bit about it, but
Yeah.
it wasn't as lucrative as
Life
people
can't
imagine.
be all free beer and T-shirts,
No, absolutely.
I was single for the better part of my time in there, and that was easier to. I couldn't imagine being married and going through all that.
Also, there's something to be said for our wives that supported us through all that, and are a much bigger part of it
Yeah.
than
Come home, smell like a cigarette,
Yeah.
strip all the clothes off, and
Yeah.
it's in my beard and my hair when I
Yeah.
had it.
yeah.
Still smelled like a cigarette. But
They put up with a lot, so that was. But I think we said at the same time, everything has a lifespan. So
yeah.
yeah.
And at that point, you were approximately 20 years that you had spent?
Dave.
25 was
25?
the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's to 75
I started
to,
in 83 to 2000.
yeah, I couldn't remember what year that was for sure.
April of 83.
So you were there the entire 25 years?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not as an owner, but
Yeah.
part-time at first.
Yeah,
and-
because you graduated.
yeah, so it went right in there.
1975.
Yeah.
So everything, legal age was 18 then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dave, like in a nutshell, like what, you saw some really big changes. What were the biggest changes in those walls?
And would you say the laws?
In the walls of STEBS. During those 25
Well, the laws
years.
changing, that was huge. And that was when you were coming in. We knew that was going to happen, but but we only sold beer then, and so there was some options. Brought in a liquor license shortly after you got there, and go ahead.
No, I would say, and I don't want to talk smack too much, but there was a period in there when the city administration and the police just gave the Hill way too much attention, and there was a riot up there on homecoming of what?
1996.
Okay, but after that, it was. I look at Main Street today, where everybody can have drinks and food out on the street. We could do that. That was out of the question
For us, yeah.
under the city administration at the time. And I'll not name the police chief at the time, but he wasn't doing our city any favors.
Yeah, as a quick side note, I was in attendance that night. We talked about it before we started. And it was very busy on the Hill. And I remember the club being closed, somebody calling the club and telling you had to close. I don't know if anybody came through the door or not, but I was enjoying the show. And we were all kind of pushed out into the street. And that's when things went pretty south pretty quickly.
Every bar dumped on the street.
And cops from Waterloo were here too.
Yeah, it went.
And they were walking up the street and telling people what to do. And people walked out and got pepper sprayed.
Yeah, I was one of them. Yeah, just
Yeah.
trying to go home, just trying to go up the hill. And around the corner.
But it was that, we don't need to go into this time.
No, but there is in the archive, it's worth mentioning that there is a videotape, and I would love to see that and see if the memory matches the myth. So we'll just see someday.
Well, let's hope that stays under wraps.
It's almost there. It's a VHS. So.
Yeah, it's a VHS, so we might
got
not
a
ever be
player
able to
anymore.
watch it again. So what legacy do you think STEBS helped to create for live music in the Cedar Valley and in our state?
I think we'd be taking a little too much credit for something that was already going on all over.
Iowa City was a big
Iowa City, Des Moines Ed Clubs,
Yeah.
Cedar Rapids. Scenes were different here and there, but I think what Steve did with fostering the environment, what our staff did with having agency of their own, and them treating people great, and that it did have a reputation of being fairly kind, I guess, to people.
And we took care of our own problems too, and if
Yeah.
we had them, and cops knew that too.
Yeah, we didn't have.
There wasn't that much going on. Like some bars were just terrible.
Yeah, I think you created a legacy that you were welcome in the club.
Yeah.
Everybody who walked through the doors could be part of what was happening there.
That was the idea.
And that was very much the vibe that you created.
Yeah.
And I think you helped foster a time in music that is very important to a lot of people. And yes, you are correct, that was happening in other places. But I can't think of too many places that I've been where I haven't run into someone who has some connection back to this club, who loves live music.
It's
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's
amazing.
really, it feels great
Yeah.
to us to
Yeah.
be, I mean, here 25 years ago, people still care.
Yeah. How come you sold it?
People still care.
They do care,
Yeah.
and its impact, I think, continues through the relationships.
Yeah.
A moment ago, you talked about the energy that was put out into the crowd by the band and how the crowd would give that back. And I think that's why people continue to return.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In conversations that I've been a part of and having witnessed that during my time here as a student. So I would like to thank both of you for taking the time to speak about STEBS and about your involvement and being a part of this Iowa Music Archive. Thank you very much. It's been my honor.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.